who is able to obtain an evaluation through the school district? If you have a child that's between the age of 3 and 21, or once they phased out and graduated from high school, they are eligible for an evaluation through the school district. You can request that evaluation as the parent. A lot of teachers don't realize you can request that evaluation for your student. You do not have to keep begging the staffing specialist or the counselor. You can send a formal email if you have the guts to, and you can request an evaluation for a student in your class. Any member of the school support team can do so, including the parent who's an equal member of the school support team. When you make an evaluation request or a reevaluation request, you might have a child that's already eligible for an IEP. The school district is required to meet every 3 years to determine if a reevaluation is needed. If they determine that a reevaluation is needed, then they need to reevaluate. Between those 3 years, you can make a request. You don't have to wait 3 years. You can make a request at any time, before your child's eligible, after your child's been made eligible, and they're gonna have to open it up and they're gonna have to reevaluate. Now, they might disagree with the need for evaluating. They might disagree with the need for reevaluating. They might not believe that there's any reason to evaluate. If they refuse to evaluate when you make a request, they need to provide you with their refusal in writing. That's very important. And you have rights. You can read them in your procedural safeguards. I can certainly help you with that. But you have the right to file a request for due process hearing, and you have the right to contest their decision. You also have the right, once they evaluate, if you disagree with their evaluation, to contest their evaluation. And we will talk more about that later. But anytime that a school team member has suspicion of disability, and that's defined in the law as well, it's not something that Krista Barth has to make up or rely on myself to determine. Whenever there's suspicion of disability, which involves any evidence that the student is struggling in any of the major areas of functioning in school, even two teachers having a conversation, believe it or not, or exchanging emails among each other about the student's struggles constitutes as suspicion of disability. And even if a student is eligible under programming, but two teachers are having discussions about struggles, let's say with fine motor skills, that would be reasonable suspicion that they should have evaluated and initiated that process.
Can I ask a question? Maybe that might be in me.
Yes,
I'm going
absolutely.
ahead. How about, let's say that the parents want to have the evaluation, right? Would they have to wait for the RTI process for the teacher, to move from one step to the other?
No. I actually did an independent study during my master's on response to intervention, where I had parent permission at Frederick Douglass Elementary to do a formal research study on the efficacy of response to intervention. So I really do know a lot about this. Mm-hmm. Response to intervention cannot delay or deny a timely evaluation. Right. When a parent makes a request for an evaluation, and I want you to do this formally via email, whether it's initial or a reevaluation, you don't have to explain or argue or justify why you're requesting. What you need to say is that I am requesting a formal evaluation for my child due to concerns that I have in the area of reading. You don't have to be crazy specific. You can give the general concerns that you have: executive functioning, I'm concerned about off-task behaviors, whatever it is that you're concerned about, language skills. Please, this is the part that I want you to write down. Please provide me with several dates and times in which we can convene a meeting where you can obtain my informed consent to the evaluations that will then subsequently be conducted. Because the 60-day period does not ensue until you have signed consent. So another way, in addition to response to intervention, that school districts continue to deny or unnecessarily delay evaluating a child and providing special education services is by receiving your request either verbally or via email without the right language being attached to it, and then waiting months to have that meeting with you. And then you thought that they were already going to start evaluating. Meanwhile, they didn't even get your signature yet, and that gave them some more time. So once they have your signature of consent, they have 60 school days to, this is nationwide, by the way. However, there's certain states that have actually set themselves to a higher standard. That's not Florida, by the way, but some states say 45 days, like Connecticut. And in that case, they follow their state rules, but they have to do it in 60 days.
People are asking to repeat what you just said, like what they have to send.
Oh, about the letter and the email?
I guess.
Okay, if you want me to repeat that, send me an email and I will write it for you. It's Krista, Krista @myeducationalsolutions.com. I'm happy to help you with that. But let me get back to one more thought. So 60 days is the maximum time that a school district can take for an initial evaluation. If it's a reevaluation, the law says they have to do it within a reasonable time frame. So that's arguable from one person to another what reasonable is. I've found that most districts consider the same 60 days to be what's reasonable. Others consider it to be 90. I think that the reasonableness of it also has to do with other factors. I often get evaluations and reevaluations expedited where the school district failed to provide a free, appropriate, and timely evaluation and service and education, and then I can prompt them to do it a bit faster.
Okay.